And welcome to episode 15 of the Football Fanatic podcast. Delighted to be back with you this week. I'm your host, Declan O'Connor. With me, as always, Daniel Coulter and Howard Costello. Man, how are we doing?
Well, Deck, good to see you.
Good, Deck. Yeah. How was your weekend?
Yeah, weekend was pretty good. International break, so I took the opportunity to get away and go on a few days away with my wife. Dan, how is the whole husband and wife going for you so far?
Yeah, it's so far a week and just over a week in, lads, and look, it's yeah, we're still together anyway, so it's going all right.
And Howard, you're going to become husband and wife soon enough next year.
Oh yeah, many moons away. Still a while away. We won't put a date on it. There's a date set, but I can't remember exactly when it is.
All right, that's not a good start. Okay, so obviously with the international break and the format to the kind of layout of our episode is a little bit different. This week we're going to start with the whole Everton being deducted 10 points. So as you've seen, it was announced last Friday that Everton are going to be deducted 10 points, which has come into effect immediately. So they have now find themselves second from bottom on 4 points. So we'll go straight into it, man. Fair, unfair. Dan, you're a Liverpool fan, so I appreciate there's a bit of a rivalry there. What do you think of it? Take away your Liverpool hat. What do you think of it as a football fan?
Yeah, I think the old toffees have become very stuck, haven't they? It's sticky time for them. No, it seems harsh considering it was one charge against Everton. So like the Premier League had originally said 12 points, and then I think the independent panel gave them 10. Look, it's the first of its kind, but I know when we were chatting about it in our group when originally the talk was of 12, we thought like that it was heavy, but then I kind of felt that probably wouldn't be the case. But gee, I kind of felt like, right, they're saying 12, but they won't get anywhere near that. Might be 6 maybe or something. Like where I had thought to get points deduction, but like 10 is a lot. Is it as much as it would have been a couple of weeks ago if Everton hadn't got a couple of results? I think it'd be maybe a bit of a bigger deal, but it's still a massive. It's a massive result that they've been given, and I think they are going to appeal it. There's a lot of conspiracy stuff around it, around whether or not you give them a high points deduction, they'll appeal it, and it might turn into a 4 or 6 point one, and but it looks like the Premier League have pushed out strong, and it was 20 million or so, wasn't it? It seems to be what was the figure. So I don't know. I for me, I feel that the punishment doesn't fit the crime. I think that was quite heavy duty. Again, I suppose it has that domino effect now on the other clubs. City and Chelsea seem like they're gonna, what's going to happen with them, but also the clubs when you go digging in and looking at the clubs that had pushed on Everton. I think it was Leeds, Leicester, or a couple that were involved. The domino effect that's going to have now for them clubs that got relegated, because they were pushing, I think, last year for it to be the hearing to take place, but there was some amount of evidence, so it wasn't possible to do it. But like for them clubs that got relegated, and then even for clubs that each position, even in the Premier League, is worth a certain amount of extra money depending on where you finish. So, of course, if Everton had been last season, would have been relegated, or the season before that, it would have been relegated. But it's very much like, where is that now? Like, there's talk about them going to sue Everton, the other clubs.
Yeah.
So, like, where is this going to end for Everton? Financially, with if the other clubs, I'd say they have a bit of a case. What do you think? I think that the other clubs would have.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree.
Howard,
I don't know if I'd agree with the other club. Like the problem there is, as you said, Dan, it's not so much it's the year that they're getting these points. Like why didn't this point deduction happen last year? And then the other teams would have been out of the woods. Like if you think it's 20 million, like if you buy a player 20 million, you're not. I would say that might have a very small impact potentially on your total league point tally in the end of the day. Like, but I said the problem there is that the laws of the game and or the jurisdictions, let's say, of when this is going to actually come into play. When a club gets fined like this, the Premier League clubs have decided the law on this themselves, because it comes from the Premier League. Like, so, like it's written there. It's not written anywhere saying, oh, after 3 years that the teams before this are going to get are going to come back in the Premier League if they got relegated. That's not there, and the only people who are at fault for that are the teams who've gotten relegated already. Like they could have stuck their hand up. Now maybe they did, but like they could have stuck their hand up over them 3 years and said, look, can we change the rules here that when if something was to happen, it's just talking,
Yeah.
it's talking after the fact, like, and it's grand to say, hold your hands up. Oh, we want our piece of the pie now with everything that's happened. But in the end of the day, they were part of the team that made the rules at the start, and there was nothing in there hardcore to say that they could actually they could actually do that. So and get get the points deduction within the season that it happened, and
Yeah, there's a couple of things to kind of take into account. One being that like it is the first of its kind. Obviously, Portsmouth went into administration a few years ago. They got docked 9 points. Middlesbrough didn't fulfill a fixture. They got docked 3 points. But there are more. I think Arsenal, Liverpool back in 1990, they got docked a point. Arsenal back.
But even what you said there, Jack, like the Portsmouth went into administration. It was 9.
Yeah.
And Everton, it's 20 million for Everton, and it's 10.
Yeah. But the difference is, guys, these are 2 different laws and rules. Like one is a financial fair play rule, and the other one is administration of a club. I know the administration club, you think by law or by looking at it from naked eye, you think, oh well, that's worse. But in the end of the day, this is a financial fair play rule, and what is happening now, as I said, is first of their kind. This is setting a precedent of what's coming after, and the independent board or whoever that's doing that need to say, well, look what's coming down the tracks here. We need to be strong and show a disciplined approach here. Otherwise, what's the point of the whole financial fair play situation?
Yeah, and I suppose their point as well was that Everton, from what I'm reading, they were working with the Premier League step by step. They were informing the Premier League. They're like, this is where we are. We plan to make these transfers. Like, and
then they fucked them.
Yeah. This is how our books are going to look after these purchases have been made. So, I mean, I don't know. It feels kind of like they told the Premier League, look, they were very forthcoming and kind of transparent. Like, this is what
they
we're
held
doing.
Hands up. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but they still went and docked them kind of 10 points. So, like, again, I can't remember your man's name. I can never pronounce it. He's on Sky Sports. You know him to see, but he does believe that when it goes to appeal and when that decision is made, that it could be reduced from 10 possibly to 6. But in a similar case where like the club have worked with the Premier League, Chelsea, whose name is thrown into the hat now as well, Todd Bowley and his kind of team have basically spoke to the Premier League saying that kind of they brought basically forth information that from the Roman Abramovich era that things like information wasn't given, and they're very much kind of they're moving themselves away from Abramovich era. But it's like they're almost accepting that, they're not saying punish us, but they're kind of saying, look, we admit that we have done wrong here. Whereas Manchester City are taking a completely different approach. And I'm not wearing my City hat here. I'm just talking amongst us. So I suppose moving on slightly to the whole Everton kind of work with the Premier League, Chelsea working with the Premier League. What do you make of that move, and how do you think Chelsea will fare?
Well, just on Everton, like again, maybe just to talk as well about like where they are now on the table, and it has been well kind of talked about that this is from. We've talked about it several times around that the teams that came up in particular this year seem to be a fairly bad crop. And even with that points deduction, you think that'll galvanise Everton. You would think it should galvanise the other clubs that are down there as well, mind you. But you would think Everton being, in the city of Liverpool, that they'll really feel now they've been hard done by here. The fans will really get behind them, and that they'll give it a good crack. And like I think they'll beat Man United. I think at the weekend, it's a bad time to be playing them. But like, they had worked with them. But it seems when you get into the nitty gritty of it, there was a lot of deceitful things. I think, and Everton have admitted to a point, but there's a lot of question marks over certain aspects of the accounts and over their finances and with the stadium and interest-free loans. And there's a lot of shit there like that seems to be that they're maybe manipulating the books a small bit that the Premier League didn't like, even though they were kind of supposed to, want to say, an open book, but were they? It depends. On what way you kind of look at that. But in regards to Chelsea, I don't know. Is it a thing that they're open about it because it was going to come out, or are they kind of going in there before?
The reason they're open about it, lads, is because Chelsea were bought by or were surrendered as an asset to the English government.
Yeah.
So all the books and documents are open for the English government to actually look at. So it's not like Todd Bowley's like, oh, jeez, lads, I'm sorry there, I better show you these documents. Like they have access to all the documents, so that's not even a thing.
Yeah,
like so Todd Bowley, you know, being transparent, all that isn't great. Like
They're
that's
not.
just him saying, right, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna play a good cop here and make sure that the lads are on my side. Like, so he told UEFA already, and they got fined 8 or 9 million for what they did there. But that was UEFA can only go back to 3 years. So
but what
that
do you
was
think is his kind of aim with that? Is it that he believes there is a deduction coming and he wants to basically kind of tame that down a little bit?
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah, like, you know, that's the transparency. Yeah. Like, so just on that, just to tell everyone that the reason what's happening there is incomplete financial data is the technicality of it. Like, so from 2012 2019, Chelsea had incomplete financial data. Now, whatever the fuck that means, I don't know, but you know what I mean. Maybe it means like they had purchases and they weren't putting them in the books, and then they were saying that them missing items weren't falling into the overall financial fair play figure that they were given to the guys at the end. I don't know, but that is in regards to the Roman Empire, that's what happened there with Abramovich. So yeah, he has go on.
It'll be interesting when they maybe he's looking to kind of butter them up a bit, because when they come and look at him, there could be more fucking deductions coming Chelsea's way when they start going into tapping into his finances. So
that's it. Well, that's what's happening at the moment. Like, that's what's happening. Like, just on. I'll just say one or two things here more about Chelsea. That the Abramovich thing and the financial data that incomplete financial data that Todd Bowley put in. There's kind of two separate things going on at the moment. So if Todd Bowley said, look, there's incomplete financial data, and now the Guardian's after releasing an article about Abramovich's offshore accounts and the funneling of money through these offshore vehicles to agents and stuff like that. So they're two separate things, but basically there's like 3.6 million, I don't know, documents coming from some Cyprus confidential files that are apparently being released. But so the second, I suppose, arch this is that Abramovich is using this offshore account to pay Eden Hazard's agent 7 million, pay like Willian. He basically, the director of the club that Willian came from, he gave him 10 million. Like, so it's all just this money, you know. Like, why would you pay it from an offshore account when you can pay it from Chelsea? Same with Antonio Conte. He got a new contract, 10 million, and that was coming from an offshore account as well. So they found all this stuff out. So the question is is this in breach of financial fair play? Because, like, you know, is he taking this money out there so because they can basically be okay for financial fair play, or is it all just like, oh well, they're just paying for this? Like, obviously, if you're paying an agent fee that's not actually coming up properly on the books, that's surely there's some illegality.
But the thing is, I suppose, well, Howard, the Everton one is very different, I think, isn't it, to the City and Chelsea? It's a completely different field that they're playing in, both financially, but also what can check and look at. So, it'll just be interesting to see, you know, how they get on with their appeal, but also where this leaves, or where the likes of, say, in Chelsea, and in particular maybe in City's solicitor's office, of how they're feeling about things, seeing kind of the harshness that Everton have been hit with, you know.
Okay, so 1 point, and then I'm going to move on to the whole City thing. Given the fact that, like, clubs are owned by individuals now, like, I mean, is there an argument to say that Abramovich had every right to kind of pay for whatever he had, however he wished? It's his club. Should he kind of have the choice to pay as he wishes? Basically, it's his property. I mean, is there any ill feel? Is there any kind of sympathy for, I suppose, the way that, I can't even pronounce the Everton owner's name, but I mean,
Shari, I think so.
Yeah, him or Abramovich, or even going into City, basically, it's their club, it's their property. How they run it is their choice.
Yeah, but the problem, Deck, is that like you're Chelsea FC and I'm buying this player, but the money isn't coming from Chelsea FC. So like you're running a company, but you're actually funneling your money through somewhere else. So you're like, oh, I spent 2 billion in this company, but oh, we're making profits. Great, because we actually none of that 2 billion is actually come from the company. So that's where the crux of it, the crux of it is. But like, Wenger used to say the financial doping back in the day when he was involved with Arsenal. Like, he used to talk about his financial doping that was going on in the league, and you can kind of see bits of it now. Like, throwing a few 10 million here, 10 million there, that isn't coming from the club itself. Like, he was saying about the Hazard thing, that he had the agent of Hazard in the house there, like when he was thinking about making a move, and he said he just couldn't match him financially, couldn't match Chelsea financially, and sure, we know what the story is now.
And is it right in saying that the rules as well are changing, Howard, aren't they? They're going to go in. I think they're due to change it next year. That the whole financial thing, they're going to go into UEFA. Is it? UEFA's
UEFA are involved in it as well. But actually, just on that, it was Abramovich came out saying that, oh, he wanted financial fair play at the time, when all his damage was done. But there's proof now from these files that come out that he paid money into the opposition to try and get it shut down at the time. So there you go.
Oh, sneaky Russian.
Sneaky Russian. Yeah.
All right. So come here. We've spoken about Everton. We have spoken about Chelsea. Now I want your opinion on Manchester City and their 115 charges. Because, I mean, over the last few days, the conversation has been aimed at Everton, but I haven't heard anyone talk about Everton without mentioning City and what may happen. And I just want to kind of put it out there as well that City are denying any wrongdoing whatsoever. And laugh all you want, all right? But they are denying any wrongdoing whatsoever. And they have said multiple times that they cannot wait for the process to kind of take place so that they can clear their name once and for all. So they're very confident. They know they have to portray that kind of to the media, etc. But they do appear as very confident and that they will be found innocent and no wrongdoing whatsoever. Look, I'm realistic as well. Look, I mean, for years people have been saying the City have bought the league, all the players, where the money has come from. It hasn't just been the Sheikh. He's used offshore accounts and kind of different means of sponsorship to kind of fund the club, etc. I've heard all the stories, but all I've seen over the years is City, they were given a transfer embargo back in the early, 2012, 13. That came, that went. They were given a 2-year ban from UEFA. They brought to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and they, on appeal, they were found, it wasn't that they were found innocent, but they were found a much lesser form of guilty. So, I mean, everything that has happened so far, City have been accused, but they have got their way out of it. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm not wearing a City hat here. I'm just saying that the Premier League are now charging City with 115 breaches. What do you think? Dan, I'll go with you first because you love talking about this.
Well, like you said, you're not wearing your City hat there, but you kind of blasé over the fact that like they were guilty, but there was a time lapse in when they went back, and that's how City got out of that. So they did what UEFA had accused them of doing. You were kind of just blasé over that, like, oh yeah.
No, I'm not blasé over anything. Right, all I'm saying is that they have been charged with 115 breaches, and they will be appealing it. And they are saying that they're delighted to have the opportunity to once and for all clear their name. So, I mean, I personally think that the Premier League have gone in too big with this one. If they genuinely have proof that City have done wrong, I mean, why 115 charges? I mean, it's taken that took 5 years for them to put all of this together. And City, I mean, knowing City, they're going to literally drag this through the courts for years. I mean, this is going back to 2009. That's 14 years ago. I mean, what is going to happen to City that, like, is genuinely going to affect? I don't know. Go ahead, Howard. What do you think?
That's it's like there's 115, but like you just mentioned there, like the Premier League have brought these charges. So the Premier League it's the biggest league in the world. It's the most global league. There's massive money at stake. So the counter to that is that for them to bring the charges, 150 of them, and charge City with them. Like they're basically putting the Premier League on the line to bring it. That's the other side of it, So they're not doing that. And would you expect anything else from like who owns Manchester City? The Saudis. Would you expect the Saudis just to bow down?
No. Hold on.
Say,
it's not
no, but Abu Dhabi. Sorry, yeah, but you know what I mean. You wouldn't expect them to just bow down and say that they're always going to come out strong, and there's a lot of ego attached there. They're the ones that have all the money they could buy and sell, so they're always going to come out and say we're delighted to be given the opportunity to whatever. But like at the end of the day, for the Premier League to have got to that stage, and as you said, it took 5 years. They obviously feel that they must have something very strong.
Well, they need a strong case. You need a strong
absolutely
case if you're coming up against these lads.
Absolutely.
Like just on your point, Dak, if you didn't know anything about football and you kind of looked at it from the outside, a layman looking in, you'd be like, okay, Man City got taken over. Financial fair play is supposedly in place, right? And for them to do what to do with the training ground, to bring in all the players on, like, the highest wage bill that they had like a ridiculous wage bill for years and years in comparison to other teams. You have you have Manuel Pellegrini on whatever kind of money. Like basically, if you're just looking in from the outside and you weren't wearing any hats, you would say, well, that's unusual that they're able to go that quickly with that amount of money and still fall within the regulations of whatever 105 million a year loss that you're allowed to have from the Premier League. So that's where the people are kind of opening their eyes, like, surely there's something going on here, And then you have the 115 charges, right? And then you have City saying, oh, we can't wait to prove ourselves innocent. So like from people looking from the inside would say, well, look, there must be hiding something here, because everything is telling us that what's going on isn't what they're saying is going on, like, you know what I mean? So the question is, can the Premier League prove and get the correct documents? Because I think that is the problem. They've been asked for the documents and they didn't hand it over. Yeah. No. So the question is, if they didn't hand it over, then maybe they do have the documents and then they're not handing them over. So therefore, there's no actual, that's a charge. And maybe half of them they actually do have the paperwork for, and the other half they don't. And maybe it's only 70 whatever charges. You know what I mean? So
why didn't they, Deck? Like why didn't but if it's a thing that there's so much. There is a lot of there, even like in City's title win and treble win, and they have a great team, they have a great manager, and as you mentioned several times, they do, now in football terms, they have the best of everything, whether it be manager, structure, the whole lot. And this obviously is going back before them times, but there is ever nearly since that UEFA investigation, there is a cloud over Man City, and you would think from a reputational point of view, okay, well, if they are so innocent, if they had handed over the documents, then we probably wouldn't be talking about this now. So that's how we're saying there must be something to be looked at. And like we've talked about before, Deck, like they set up their companies that they were getting 20-30 million of sponsorship and they had like 100 fucking followers on Twitter. Like, like who's running these companies? And that's this is known that this is going on. And a lot of the sponsorship that they've got in to fill the plugins, to fill the gaps are like, they're made up. They don't exist.
Hold on. That's the thing. Like, you say they're known, but we don't know. We don't know.
I know.
You can take the piss down and you can say, look, this went on, that went on. The Sheikh used an offshore account to pay for X, Y, and Z. But like, we don't know. And right now, it's all speculation that the Premier League have come up with 115 reasons as to why Man City have done wrong. But again, like, we don't know specifically, and until we do know, I mean, and when will we know? That's another question. How far is this going to be dragged along?
It'll be dragged.
It will be dragged. And I mean, when I say they have the best of the best, like that moves to the kind of, in terms of legal team as well. They have the best of the best legal team.
I heard the start of next year. Now it could be a vicious rumor, but that's what my people tell me.
I don't want
but off the back of what we've seen with Everton, I'm of the opinion now that them 115 charges, if it was deemed that is the case and that they were charged, I actually think that City won't exist as a football club. I think they can.
Okay, I don't know. Do you genuinely mean? Do you mean that, or
I do, because I think what'll end up happening is
just going to fold.
No, yeah, I think they'll fold. I do, because I think what will end up happening is outside of being deducted, probably maybe stripped of titles, and I think the legal proceedings that other clubs will take against Man City, because Howard mentioned earlier on, but like this is going back before that. I reckon a lot of the other clubs as well that would have lost out financially over the years, Champions League football, whatever meet, they'll all go in and tumble on top of City, and I think that they could end up liquidated. Yeah.
Look, Deck, I'll relieve you a bit. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's
Not
look,
gonna fucking happen.
it's let's say it's on the spectrum of maybe a possibility or whatever.
It is a possibility.
I think. Look, I think
Not
the
a
best.
possibility.
I think the best scenario, right, for City, and no one likes to see fans of other clubs go through this and thing. But like the one thing I
Fuck
would
you,
say
Dad.
is, one thing I would say is, as an Arsenal fan, I was there when you fucking took our whole starting 11 and bought them as well. Like, so I know we had to fucking suck our lemons then.
You got good money for them players.
Yeah, but like it was this, it was the good financially doped money. But anyway, what I would say is like from a good to bad aspect, I'd say maybe there's a possibility that they might give them like something like a start of a season with like minus 30 points and try and not be relegated.
Okay.
They won't be in the Premier League. They won't be.
Yeah,
if they get found guilty, there's no way they'll be in the Premier League.
put it from an exciting point of view. That would be exciting if they were like minus something. Our City going to stay in the league, put them right in the thing, and then that's maybe
Dan,
the pos. Yeah,
Dan, you made a very good point there. Okay. Say City are found guilty of 40 odd of these 115 charges. Okay, what are the likely possible punishments that could happen? So relegation, is it to the Championship, League One, League Two? Do you think?
Oh, well, you're definitely talking relegation at the very least.
Okay.
I would imagine. Also, actually, and do you know what? Probably the biggest one of all that we haven't mentioned is the loss of Pep, because Pep has come out very strongly. He's put his reputation several times on the line that he's been told the truth, that there's nothing bad, because his reputation in football, to be honest with you, would be under serious scrutiny if this all goes south as well, and he'll be gone.
Yeah.
And he probably, arguably that could be nearly one of the biggest blows the City would take, because you're going to lose the man that if you were put down a division or two or whatever it may be, who was going to come in and pick up the scraps there to try and pull you back up. And your players, think about all your players as well. All them players, none of them will stay. You think about majority of players that have gone to Man City, they've gone there, an awful lot have gone there for money. And I think in probably in the last number of years, not as many of them, because Pep has kind of picked an awful lot of guys that he trusts that have a good integrity and whatever like that. But I still think there's an awful lot in there that on the first fucking plane out of Manchester.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
you'll end up a company in there, and that's going to be no fucking good to you.
Yeah. They are contracted to the club. Like, I'm sure there's clauses within there if X, Y, or Z happen. But again,
if we're relegated, it's a relegation clause.
I don't know. Okay, again, we won't. Chances are we're not going to find out in the next week. This will go on for a while. But you do, whatever is going to happen, whether we're found innocent, whether we're found guilty, you would like to kind of see it come to a conclusion sooner rather than later, because
well, the suspense is killing you, Deck. Is it like a fairness? Like as a fan, like it is.
No, it's not killing me. So I swear to God, okay. Like I've seen City down in Division 1 and bouncing up and down from Premier League to Division 1. I've seen this when we were shite, okay. And if we are to be relegated and put into the Championship, League 1, yeah, it'll be horrible, but like there'll be a kind of an element of typical City about it. Look, we fucked it all up. Or look where we've ended back in like the third tier of English football.
Yeah.
And our only player left is Phil Foden.
I don't know how. I think he's rattled. Like, look, he's in a different room. He's in a different room tonight. He's probably
I think there's a part of it that Deck would mind that scenario.
Thank you. Yes,
I think I could see that in him.
I mean that. Like,
there
is a part of me that says if we were to be, and I was reading this online today. We'll move on to the next thing now in a sec. But I was reading online today, like if City were relegated, found guilty of however many charges, all the players leave, Pep leaves, everything, all right? They can take the titles away from us, okay? But at the end of the day, we know what happened on the football pitch. We have the Aguero movement. They can never take that from us.
That's fair,
but if we were to be relegated, like there are thousands and thousands of City fans that won't turn their back on the club, that will keep going, that were there when we were in Division 2 back in the late 90s. And like, it will be bad, but it won't be bad forever. But again, it's all hypothetical. We don't know what's going to happen. It'll be interesting.
Look at Lance Armstrong.
Look at Lance. He was full of shit and so evil.
But look, I just like to say, like, it's like, you don't really, like, I wouldn't take any joy in seeing other fans from other teams see their clubs get, like, I don't get any kick out of that. It doesn't,
Yeah.
I get a kick out maybe City not win the league every year, but I don't get a kick on, fans
Okay.
like, having to go to a League Two game instead of, that is for me. That's, that's if you're happy about that, there's some problems with you, I think.
Well, hang on. You can't. So
I'm talking about the fans, Dan, not the club. Like,
so yeah, but it's cheating though. So if they
yeah,
end
but
up
the
in League
club
Two,
is cheated, not the
yeah,
fans. You know
club
what I
is
mean?
cheated, but not, the club is okay. So what you're saying is that you feel sorry for the fans
Yeah,
that
the
have supported
fans,
that club.
yeah. Not the
Football
club,
is
not the club
nothing
itself.
without fans, Dan.
Not the
Right.
club
Okay.
itself. Yeah.
Okay, so very quickly, I want to leave it here.
Yeah.
If City are found guilty, what punishment would you, honest to God, hand on heart, like to see happen?
Like to see, or what?
I
Forget that we're having a bit of laugh here. What would you like to see happen if we are found guilty?
I ban them.
Ban them, as in just dissolve the company and everything.
Just ban them. Yeah, give them like a fucking 10-year ban from competition.
What?
Let's give them a 10-year ban from competition.
Okay, never mind. I forget the question, Howard. Forget what Dan
I
said.
would look, Dick, I would do the championship. Go down to the championship. See, I'd be interested kind of to see how many players will be able to stay around. You might still have a bit of a team. You might come back up, but you'd be missing. Pep would be gone. I'd like to see that, and then, but not see a complete destruction of the club. Obviously, just the kind of fight that bring you back to maybe after you get everything together, back to exactly what you were before the lads took over. So just like in middle table, scrapping for relegation. That would be
It'd be like Dream Team.
Like fucking dream.
Manchester United.
There'll be a sign on the door saying, out of business.
I don't know, Dick. Yeah, like it's hard to say where and pinpoint where where it will leave them. But
I think you have a soft spot for City.
I would have had a soft spot for City pre I suppose pre all of the like back. Yeah, so it's pre money. Yeah. I would have had a soft spot for City. Yeah.
That's because you all hate United. And then they were playing United and there's the rivalry there. That was the main reason.
All right, listen.
Anyway,
we should actually hopefully this everything might kind of speed up the likes of whatever, if anything happens to Chelsea, the City, and we'll be able to find out more what might happen, and we'll be able to kind of have proper episodes about this. Because again, it's all what ifs and buts. We don't know, and until we do, we can only speculate. So we'll move on. And City are still alive and fighting, and we'll move on. So what we're doing this week as well, we are picking our starting 11 based on the Premier League so far this season. So what we're going to do, the three of us are going to pick our formations, and we're going to go through our goalkeeper and defence, move on to our midfielders, strikers. So we'll go with Dan. So Dan, I want your formation and then your goalkeeper, best goalkeeper, and your defence.
So I've gone 3-4-3.
Okay.
Just small bit to be different, but also I didn't think there was too many standout left and right backs. So I just I've gone for 3-4-3. So I have Alisson in goals. I just think so far this season again, like he does, he's Mr. Ultra consistent, and in several right games this season as well, in particular ones where it was 0-0, he's made a few big saves for us not to fall behind. I think he's the best keeper in the league, and I think again he's shown that so far. So got for him in goals, Saliba. I know Howard has waxed lyrical about him, and I'm a big fan as well. So I've him at centre back. I just think he's exceptional, probably the best centre back in the league. Not probably, he is the best centre back I think in the league. Which is amazing considering where he's come from. Yeah. Being out on loan and then to come in and to be an integral part of
so young,
all the good things about Arsenal. Yeah, so young and an integral part of what Arsenal is about, and he has everything. I think so I have him Andre van der Veen, Nicky van der Veen there as well.
Yep.
I've been a big fan of him so far this season coming into the league. I didn't realise he cost actually a few bob. I thought he was cheap enough, but he was 30 odd million, I think. That's what he cost. But I'm a big fan of him. I thought he's been excellent. He's young as well, and Spurs really needed a centre back to come in and he's done the business. I know he's injured now for a little bit, but I thought he's been excellent so far this season. A big part of why Spurs are doing well. And I've actually gone for, I was looking up I had a few names in here, but I've gone for Fabian Schär. It probably would have been Botman, to be honest with you, if he didn't get injured. I'm a big fan of him as well. But I think Fabian Schär kind of goes a bit under the radar. I think he's an exceptional centre back. It has been quite consistent for a couple of years at centre half for Newcastle. So I've gone for him in that as well. He's a savage striker of the ball. If you ever see him as well, he's a great striker of the ball.
Yeah.
I think even with Botman injured, he's still been consistent and solid. And he has to do a fair amount of running because I think Trippier is brilliant going forward. I don't think he's the best defensively, but he is a very good player. And I think Schär has been very good. And Newcastle again are, defensively they're sound as well. They haven't conceded too many this year. So I just thought he was worth a shout out in that as well. I think in games I've seen, I know there's other lads that are there that have good numbers and stuff like that. Like I haven't seen an awful lot of Crystal Palace this year, but I know Anderson's been doing very well. But the Newcastle games I watched, I think Schär is a quality player. And that's my defence.
No worries. Howard, formation and then goalie defense.
Yeah. I have gone for 4-2-3, and I have in goal. I've Vicario actually, the Tottenham keeper.
Oh yeah.
I just think Alisson's obviously an amazing keeper. We know everything about him, but I just thought, I wasn't too sure about this guy when he came in because I thought they could have bought Raya. Raya was available for Spurs. I think they came in, didn't get him. Didn't go high enough, and then they got this guy, and I was thinking to myself, look, he isn't going to be a patch on Raya, but I thought he's been fantastic. Like he's
very good.
He's a very good shot stopper, very good playing out of the back. So he's given him another dimension, building up from the back, which I think Lloris obviously didn't have in his locker. So he's my goalkeeper. Right back Trippier. Think Dan. Yeah, Dan, do you have Trippier? Did you say?
No, he's excellent going forward. He probably is the best.
He's
right
probably
back
the best right back.
Well.
Yeah, he's probably the best right back, and his delivery. He's key to, like, if he gets injured for Newcastle, it's hard to believe. Their team goes down so much, but like a right back can be that important to them, just set pieces and everything. So I have him in there. Then I have Joachim Andersen from Crystal Palace. Again, I just think he's kind of like out of the top 6, he's probably one of the best centre backs there. I think he would
some passer ball, isn't he?
Great passer, but he was always a pretty good ball player. But I don't know, he just seems to have ramped it up a few notches there in the last 2 seasons. So he's a player that I remember there was a bit of interest in him a few years ago, maybe before he went to Palace. I remember his name going around to some of the bigger clubs, but it didn't happen. But he's obviously shown his worth now. And then I've Lucas Digne, so I've gone him for left back. Just think Villa have had a great season so far, and he's, from an attacking point of view, what Emery's got out of him, he's really kind of fed into his strengths with his left foot and that. So I think he's been great this season for Villa. So that's my back 4 and keeper there.
Who was your centre half as well?
Oh, sorry, I never get my other one. Saliba, Saliba centre back. So that's same as Dan. So so Trippier, Saliba, Anderson, and Digne.
Digne, yeah. I'm going for 4-3-3 as well. Alisson in goal for very much the reasons Dan has said. It was between him and Ederson because the game has very much gone playing out from the back, and I don't think there are two better than Ederson and Alisson doing it. Between the two of them, I actually think that Alisson is probably just slightly edges it in terms of shot stopping. Both of them in terms of distributing the ball, passing out from the back. I think they're both excellent, but just if you're going to have a one-on-one, I'd rather Alisson in there than Ederson, just by a fraction. 4 at the back, Lucas Digne as well, actually left back. I think he's been excellent. He's a brilliant buy for Aston Villa. In the middle, Van der Veen and Saliba as well. I think they've been the two standout centre halves for the season. Just, I suppose, for right back for me, it's Kyle Walker. I think he's probably playing his best football. In terms of going forward,
he's really turned around, hasn't he? Because Pep was
big time,
because he was about to leave, wasn't he, to Munich, and then he got taken off in the Champions League.
There was
he wasn't starting.
But yeah, there was like stuff during lockdown. Supposedly he had like a party in the house as well. So, I mean,
Pep wasn't invited. That was probably
Pep wasn't invited, and
fuck's
I
sake.
mean, just stuff like that. Like and then I think last season as well, he was in a nightclub and he pulled down the pants and stuff. Just stupid stuff like this that like you think a professional, like, and he's not young either. Like he's 33, so I mean, he would have been 32 last year. Stupid stuff like that he shouldn't have been doing, but Pep kind of kept faith in him, and he's so important going forward. But even kind of when teams are attacking us, if Kyle Walker is there, I mean, I don't think there's any player that kind of beats him for pace. So he's so important to us in that sense as well. So for me, at right back as well.
And you know what? He'd be brilliant in the championship next year. He'd be really good. Walker.
He could absolutely. He's going to completely avoid going back to Sheffield United.
Imagine how many nightclubs he'd be in next year.
He's what's he got? He's going to be the one of the players that sticks with us, as well as him, Foden, and I'll name a few as we go on. Dan,
he was happy enough to go to Munich, I think, in the summer, was he?
But look, Pep was able to convince him. Charges or not, he's a lifer.
Yeah. I always just feel with Walker, and again, I know he's great recovery pace, but I've always felt in him there's a rick in him. I don't know why. I just always think of City's back, and I always think he'd be the one that'd make a mistake. But Yeah.
Fair enough. Dan,
he's a good player, though. Yeah.
Your midfield.
Oh, my midfield it's I have a really attack-minded midfield. So my 3-4-3. Yeah, and there was a few again. One or two of them were easy, and then a couple of them were difficult. So I give you my middle of the field. I have Rodri because I just think he does the work of three men, and he would do the business in my midfield there and that kind of holding role. But look, there's a lot more to Rodri even than just holding. He tipped in with goals and assists. He's a bit more of an all rounder. I think it'd be unfair just to say that he's a holding midfielder at City. He's an excellent player, and like it shows when they were missing him of what happened when they didn't win them games that he was out when he got sent off. So he's in there, and I have Maddison alongside him. That'll be an excellent partnership because where Rodri can do the sit, and Maddison has been exceptional. I know again he is injury prone and has picked up an injury, but I think in the first 11, 12 games, any game for Spurs that I've seen, he's been electric and he's involved in everything but the Spurs do. He's involved in it. So they're my middle of the field. And then I've gone for on the wide right, Bowen. I think Jared Bowen is back to the player he was 2 seasons ago and that as well. I thought he's been exceptional. I know now there's talk of an injury. It's circulating as to how bad it is or how much we have asked Ronan, who was on the pod a couple weeks ago. He doesn't think it's that bad, is what he's hearing, but it'll be interesting to see what comes out with that because I think he's so important to.
That was surprising. He was so optimistic that it wasn't that bad. I thought if Ronan would have said it would have been a career-ending injury. But
yeah, no, they're saying ACL, but is what's been talked about. But I don't know a lot of the sources. It's there's nothing concrete in it. I don't think what's been said, but that was the case. Jesus, it'd be a horrific, massive blow to West Ham because so far this season he's been excellent for them. Chipping in with goals, assists, and he's just a really good player. So he was my right side. The left side there was a couple of options, but I've actually gone just because I thought particularly the last few games that I've seen Newcastle play, I've gone for Anthony Gordon on the left side. I think Gordon has been. Yeah, I know, and I'm with you about that. The heading him, he's not to fucking,
what did you
stick
say?
the head.
Oh, very punchable faced, yeah. But
yeah,
to be honest,
yeah.
I actually picked him as well. So I can't really talk.
So yeah, he has. He's one of them where you just love to fucking stick the head in him, the night out. He's very good. I think he came out that price tag. None of us can kind of believe he costs what he costs, but I just think he's exceptional. His work rate is very, very good. Like he scored against Liverpool, he scored against Arsenal, as Howard will will remember. And I just think he's a very important player. And there was a couple of options for the left side, and Bueno was another one. There was a couple of them for in my team, but for me, I've gone for Gordon. So I think that Bowen and Gordon will give me a lot of good work going forward. But they're also very good defensively, both of them. They do work put in the shift. So yeah, that's my midfield.
All right, very good. Howard.
I've also an attacking midfield. I suppose the way I'm playing is one defensive midfielder, one centre midfielder, one attack midfielder. I suppose is the way I've gone for. So the three in that midfield. is Douglas Luiz. I have sitting defensive fielder. I thought he's had a great season. Ex City. I think Arsenal went from a few last January or a year ago or whatever they wanted him. He's really come on again. Like, and I can't see them getting from Villa now at this stage. But he's done a class shot. And chipping in a few goals. Like, even going in the fantasy football league, and he's like, for a defensive midfielder, he's like up near the top. Like, so
takes the penalties, doesn't he?
Takes all their penalties. Yeah, I think he's hit a few goals though from outside the box as well. So look, he's a decent player. Could be one of these players that could be an absolute baller in a year or two. He's only 25, I think, and he's part of Brazilian setup, so he one to watch, I guess. And then I have Maddison. Yeah, as Dan says, player of the season so far, I think. Not much more to say about him. It's the quicker to get him back, I think, the better for a Tottenham aspect. And then I have, I suppose, behind the strikers in the pocket, I have Julian Alvarez. Sorry. So have him in there. I think he's probably been City's standout player. Obviously Haaland's chipped in with all the goals, but I think he's been out of the attacking, out of the kind of people that you wouldn't think would be doing as well as they're doing. He's the guy. I think he's been incredible at the start of the season. Kind of maybe fallen off a small bit in the last few games, but he definitely has done his bit. And I'd be interested now if Pep does the whole rotating business, and you won't see him now until for a few months again. Like, they'll put in someone else, Grealish or someone else in there, and they won't see him. So it'd be interesting if he'll be staying in that position in the foreseeable.
No, fair enough. I'd be interested actually when De Bruyne does come back.
Yeah, De Bruyne, I suppose, yeah.
And he has to make that decision between, look, are we bringing Kevin back into the team, or are we bringing Alvarez out? Because I mean, fair enough, in the last game or two, he hasn't been as electric as he was, but I mean, he has been playing excellent overall.
He probably. I think he might play him on the wing.
Yeah, he could do.
I think if I don't think he'll play in the position he's playing now if De Bruyne comes back into the team, but I wouldn't be surprised if they shifted Foden out, or you could take your pick. I think he could play anywhere across that front three. He's excellent.
Yeah. All right, my own midfield. So I've gone with Rodri as well for again his all-round play. I mean, those 3 games he missed after he got the straight red. I mean, you could see his absence, and then when he came back, they went on a 5-game winning run. So I mean, he is so important to City. He's up there with, like, he's the first name on the sheet, and then after that is Haaland. But he's more than an offensive midfielder. Like, he covers so much ground, and he does it he makes it look so easy. He literally picks so many different passes, and he comes up with so many important goals. I mean, Champions League final being obviously the main one that will come to mind, but he has a fantastic shot on him. He's a captain. He's a leader in that team. And when Walker does kind of finish up and De Bruyne finish up, if Rodri is still there and we haven't been banished to like the conference, and you know what I mean? Hopefully Rodri will be made captain, because I think he's almost Guardiola on the pitch back in the day. Because Guardiola was that type of player. Now I don't know if Guardiola was as good as him, but he just kind of, whatever it is in Spanish players, Busquets was before that, Guardiola was before that, Xavi. It's just that whatever it is about that type of kind of number 6 player that they just
they're so technically sound. Position. Like, they're all like, that's why I think it's like they're obviously, you get one in a few that are actually able to break up play, but the chances are, because they're come from La Masia in Barcelona or wherever, they're able to pass.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the key part to it.
They read the game so well, and it's
but he has it all, doesn't he? He even set pieces in both boxes. He's great in the air. So like it's very hard to find a flaw, bar that fucking stupid red card he got earlier in the season.
Yeah, and I mean, like, in the first season, like, he was okay, he was learning, but then from the second season onwards, he's been fantastic. So him for me, Maddison also for the reasons you said, he's been fantastic. And also I've gone for Odegaard. I'm surprised Howard didn't go for it, but he hasn't reached the heights that he did last year, probably because he set them so high. But I think Rodri with Maddison and Odegaard in front of him, Digne and Walker kind of bombing up both wings. I mean, I think you have a midfield there of steel, creativity, imagination, Yeah, I mean Odegaard, I think anyways that he is kind of turning into the next De Bruyne, and if City are able to kind of continue to spend money over the coming years, we will. I'd love to see us go for Odegaard actually. So those are my three in midfield. Dan up top.
Yeah, so my three, it probably won't come as a big surprise, but they've got 31 goals, I think, between the three of them. So I've gone Son, Salah, and Haaland, just because I think they're probably the three best attacking players in the league as well, and they're showing it with their numbers so far. Yeah, so Salah, I think, has just been exceptional. Anything good that Liverpool have done, he's putting in great numbers again. Yeah. Haaland, I actually don't think has played that well, but he's 13 goals so far this season. Scored some quite important ones as well along that way. So I think you could not have him in the team. And then Son, I think, as well is vital to Spurs. He's playing obviously in a bit of a different position now this year. He was the creator, I think, a lot of the time for Kane. Kane was the creator for him, and vice versa. Where I think it is now Son and Maddison show to a point. But yeah, I think Son is an exceptional player. Has been. It's like maybe last year, but in most of his time at Spurs, he's been top class. Yeah, so that's was my front three, which I think would score a serious amount of goals. When we come to May, there'll be a lot of them three will probably have 20 each, I think. Yeah. At least.
Yeah. Howard, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to Dan, except I've a Gordon left, Salah right, and Haaland in the front. So I was kind of him and Han about Haaland, like, should we put him in? Should we put him in? But like, he's probably had, in regards to the season itself, he's had a kind of, not mediocre by his standard. But at the end of the day, like, what I was thinking is like you put Ollie Watkins into that City team, and does he score the same amount as Haaland?
No, and like he's like insert. Like you have obviously your fancy captain. He's been everyone's captain in a lot of weeks. But when you watch a lot of City games, like he's fucking non-existent, and like he's borderline poor. And one or two of them, he looked like it was Lukaku I was watching, because his first touch, anything the ball just kept bouncing off him. Yeah. He'd still go away in the game with a brace. Like, you know what I mean?
He has a knack of doing it.
He is. He's even that bit of movement that he didn't finish off there against Chelsea, where he checked inside Thiago Silva, left Thiago Silva looking like, not many have done that to Thiago Silva throughout his whole career. But just that lightning stride. And I know he didn't finish it off, but he should have finished it. But like it's him in a nutshell. He's an animal, like he is, and
he has that mentality, that Cristiano Ronaldo
Messi
mentality. Like, don't fuck with him. Like if you get on the wrong side of him, or if he thinks he's not having a good game, he will make it right. Like he will get the ball and win you a game. Like he has that kind of winning. I don't know, that aura, that winning aura.
He does. 100%. Like he does. He's a killer.
Yeah,
killer. Yeah,
yes. I have him picked as well. Salah as well. I think just Salah is a different breed. He's fantastic to watch. What's he called? He's been so consistent for Liverpool over the last few years. So Salah on the right, Haaland.
Like, can I just ask there, when we're talking about Salah and Haaland, like how are we thinking, like, in regards to, if you had one player for 5 years in your club? I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but if you had one player, would you be picking Haaland or would you be picking Salah? Because if you look at the overall game, like, Salah, like, he's probably more exciting to watch. He has more flair. He kind of, more.
I think you're asking the wrong two people.
I just, from what we've, again, it's hard because we've only had Haaland for a certain period of time in the league. For me, like, Salah is like he has been exceptional so far this season. He goes through spells though. He'll go through spells where he can be poor enough. I think last season, and in particular, there was that, like, where I just think that Haaland, it's like you're guaranteed, regardless, like, that he's going to hit serious numbers. Yeah, I don't know.
But could you add in the entertainment fact then? The fact that like you're looking at the TV and then Salah goes on some run and you're off the couch and you're like, Jesus, go on, and he scores an unbelievable
you forget as
that
well
has to feed into it a bit. You know what I mean?
You forget in the first couple of seasons though how electric he's not at that same level. If you think of some of the goals he scored, the one against City, the one against Spurs, where he's taken it by 2 or 3, like if Messi done it, we'd be fucking absolutely. We'd nearly, you know what I mean? We'd nearly be going into the corner to have a quick Tom Tank like over it, you know. So like honestly, like you know, he scored some absolutely exceptional goals.
Why?
Some absolutely exceptional goals.
The program.
But like he has been exceptional. And for mid-time, if I was going to watch a game, I'd be having to play with Salah. But I could see Haaland is just I think a different animal, as you said there. You know,
well, his numbers are insane, aren't they?
They are like.
So basically, for me, it was Salah, Haaland. I've actually gone for someone completely different on the left, Pedro Neto.
Oh, I'm trying to fit him in as well. Yeah,
I think he's been and I know there's absolutely so many arguments for Son, even a little rat Anthony Gordon as well. But Pedro Neto has been, what's he call it? He's had 7 assists so far this season. He's top of the assist charts, and he has absolutely stood out for Wolves. So I mean, he took us apart when they were playing us as well. So I mean, I just think, just based on the 10 games so far this season, I think he has been.
If he wasn't so injury prone, I think he'd definitely be with the top team, one of the top teams, because it's just he seems to be hitting form and then he breaks down again. Like it's a risk buying him, but he's quality once he gets fit. Like he's one of these like old school dribblers. You know, you don't know where he's going, and he'll literally, you know, he could make a show you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But those are our 3 teams. So I suppose comments, let us know, give us feedback. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who would you have in? Who would you take out, etc.? So we'll move on now to our weekend fixture predictions for next weekend. Thankfully, it's back. Saturday morning, no better game to start with. So City versus Liverpool. I can't wait for 12:30 on Saturday morning. Predictions, Dan, what do you think? How's this going?
How many of these City lads are going to be fit come Saturdays? When I want to know.
Well,
any insider information for me there? What's going on?
Haaland's
like 8 of them at the moment. 8 of them are. I think there are 8 out. 80 about at the moment. 8 I read.
It's again, we don't know for definite, but I mean, Haaland, you've seen him go down holding the ankle. So
he's going to be fine. Fabrizio Romano came out saying he's going to be around. Like, is he one of the most unpatriotic players that ever played the game? He never seems to be fucking fit for Norway, and he's always fit for City. Poor old Norway can't buy a competition. Like, what's going on there?
I think Ferguson for Ireland is a bit like that as well, though.
Yeah, well, he got injured if fucking playing for Ireland.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going for 2-2. Yeah, gone 2-2.
Out of curiosity, who will score? Who do you think will score?
I think Haaland, if he's fit, will score. yeah. Anyway, he might get a brace. Actually, he said he's getting a load of fucking penalties. I reckon he get a penalty or something. And we go Salah and Van Dijk. See us maybe getting a set.
I thought you're Nunes. You had to have Nunes in there from.
I don't know if
he's on a bit of form.
I don't know when he start him. I have a feeling that he may go in a game like that. I don't know if he'll play him. It's interesting. I think he can go just for the work rate, and when we don't have
Nunes. Nunes he strikes me as a big game player though. Like, he just strikes me as someone who's gonna really want to win the game for Liverpool. He scored a good goal against Argentina there as well for Uruguay. So he's
interesting to see.
Interesting, yeah.
I have a feeling that he might go Diaz. He might go Diaz, Jota, Salah.
Oh yeah, Jota.
He might do
up front.
Yeah.
I have 3-2 City. It always seems to be usually there's a bit of gold in these games, isn't it? You know better than me, but I'm going for 3-2 City. But look, after international break, it's a bit of a lottery because you don't know what kind of players are coming back. They need to get the tactics into them and all that. So you don't know what's going on.
I'm annoyed it's at 12:30. You know, it's a fucking evening game if it ever was.
Exciting. But like Saturday 12:30 could be good crack though.
Was it not you? Or was it TV or was it the Mugs that got moved to 12:30? Though it wasn't 12:30 originally. It got moved to 12:30.
I don't know, but I have no idea why. Is it the TV or is it the crowd?
No, it's a crowd thing. Yeah, that's what it was. It's the crowd thing between over the last couple of years between City and Liverpool. There seems to be an awful lot of
Yeah, but
ill feeling. So they've moved it to earlier in the day because they reckoned that if it was, I think it was originally supposed to be 5:30 kickoff. They reckon everyone would be fucking locked by 5:30 and there'd be all sorts of carnage.
That's the
So they
reason. That's
moved it.
more the reason to put it at 5:30. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
going
yeah.
to go with City 3, Liverpool 1. Yeah, based on the fact I think that Liverpool are a small little bit vulnerable. Not small, they are vulnerable at the back, as are City. But I think being at home is going to shade it for us on Saturday. Saying that now, if it was a reverse fixture, it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool was to beat us 3-1. But again,
if it was a reverse fixture, what would you go for?
Probably 3-1 to Liverpool.
Okay.
No, genuinely, because it's that type of game where home advantage is a huge thing. And it's just the type of game over the years that it's been so good, and there's always goals. And I think there will be goals again. So, we'll go for 3-1. Probably I should have said as well, as always, if you want to send in your predictions for these 3 games, if you get those 3 correct predictions, you will get 2 match tickets to a Premier League team of your choice. The matches at the weekend, the internationals, unfortunately, nobody came close. France kind of put a spanner in the works. But, all right, we'll move on to Spurs and Villa. Dan.
Yeah,
this will be a good game.
Yeah, we good game, and it just Villa's away form. It's just put me off because I have a feeling not sure what way Spurs will be, what shape they'll be in with their injuries and stuff like that. So it's a hard one to call as of now. But I will go for Spurs just to shade it. I'll go 2-1 Spurs. But wouldn't surprise me if Villa went actually there and won, because even though they've been poor away from home, they have a good enough side that they can go there and do damage. Like,
yeah, Howard.
I have 1-1. 1-1, yeah. So, well, could go. I think Spurs just with their injuries, I think they're on a bit of a downturn here now.
Likewise. I think
and the way they're set up as well suit like Villa are very, they have a lot of pace in behind. The way that they play will, I think, suit Villa to kind of.
You mean when they're up at the halfway line playing handball?
Yeah. Like the Abby Watkins are licking their lips like.
Yeah.
Kieran will be back next week to debate handball with both of these. So. I'm going to actually go with Villa 1-0 here because I do think Spurs the injuries are going to catch them out, and I think Villa will kind of turn their away form around with this one. So now, an interesting one, especially with all that's gone on the last few days, Everton and Man United. Dan.
Yeah, I'm going for an Everton win, 1-0. 1-0 Everton.
Howard, what do you think?
I have 2-1, sorry, Everton. Yeah, again, like, it's funny, me and Dan have both picked Everton to win, and they're coming second last in the league. I know they had the 10-point deduction.
But it's Rashford out. Like, and Onana, are they out as well? Or
Onana got injured as well during the week, yeah.
Onana, yeah. But which Onana now? There's a couple of them.
Yeah. It's just how I feel.
Who's United's second goalie?
Oh,
trivia question here.
No, they got one in, didn't they? Oh, hang on.
Oh, that's gone.
It's not your man. Not Henderson. What's the guy who was always there?
No, they got one in.
But I just think Everton, yeah, with the points deduction, the fans are going to be going mad.
Yeah, they got your man in, the Turkish lad in, Bayender. They got him in. Yeah,
he's unreal apparently. Heard he's
Turkey's number one. Turkey's number one.
There you go.
Bayender.
Brilliant. City, Liverpool, Spurs, Villa, Everton, Man United. So again, send in your predictions to us by Friday night, 10 p.m. If you were to get 3 correct scores, you will get 2 tickets to a Premier League team of your choice. So get your predictions in. There were a good few who had 1 correct score last week.
This could be tricky. We get there are 3 games now that might be more predictable than some of the other ones that you put up there. Liechtenstein, Luxembourg was a tricky one to call, but
Luxembourg got a red card after like 5 minutes, wasn't it? Luxembourg got a red card and still won 1-0.
The Liechtenstein goalie, the 57-year-old, had a fucking great game.
I think so, Howard.
What was the final score that game?
1-0. 1-0. Yeah, it's
who?
Luxembourg.
Oh, so literally I still haven't scored. Fuck's
No.
sake.
You're right though, Howard. You're right. Yeah. I have a feeling now it's coming.
Yeah.
And it's going to hit him deep.
Me?
Yeah, it's coming. Someone is going to get them right.
The tickets are going to be in the mail.
I hope they do, honest to God. It'd be brilliant to see it. But I just said the probability of it happening, I just can't see it happening. But I would love to be proven wrong. Okay, Monksland United. So not Idle, but game was called off the weekend. Waterlogged pitch, as many pitches were. Next weekend, they're in the Paddy Cotter Cup first round, Balnahound versus Monksland at 11 a.m. on Sunday. So, their B team and the 17s are both idle, and there was no last man standing this weekend, obviously gone by. It'll be back on next weekend. So there's 4 left. So Earl Gaillard, the 2 Shines, and Sarah Sullivan. So
on Sarah.
On the Sarah.
What the fuck? 4 left. And we'll see how that goes at the weekend. So, man, any other business to discuss?
Shout out to the girls, the Athlone Town ladies.
Oh, sorry, yeah, absolutely brilliant, wasn't it?
Outrageous win. So
outrageous.
Yeah, they did well to come back again, and it was extra time. Jeez, it was. Yeah, they're some relentless fuckers. They keep going like that. Some of the play actually, I was watching it, and some of the play was actually very impressive. So fair play to them, and Shells beating a team of that pedigree.
Absolutely. Were you watching it then?
No, I was in college. No, I didn't see any of the football, but like my social media was full. I seen they were out in the bridge, and there was really good scenes there last night. It was nice. Was it 100 years or nearly 100 years since?
Yeah,
as well. And the ladies' team aren't there that long either.
Only a few years.
It's amazing achievement. It is, yeah.
And their manager is actually going to Sligo Rovers as of next season, so they're going to be manager-less until a new one is appointed. But not a bad way to go out, lifting the cup. So huge congratulations to them. We will also be looking at a Christmas competition. So we're looking at a game of Christmas where we're going to ask viewers and listeners to predict the minute that the first and the last goal is scored. So we'll be bringing you more information on that in the next week or two. Kieran will be back on next week, and hopefully we will know a little bit more about Everton's situation with the points deduction. And it'd be brilliant if we had some more info on Chelsea and Manchester City. Rico Lewis, he'd stay with us.
You want to cut his hair though?
Give a shit. It wasn't Sideshow Bob. Couldn't care less. He'll stay with us. Phil Ford would stay with us. Ederson would probably be gone, so we'd have Ortega in goal. But
there's no way. There's no way. There's no way though. If you went down the Foden, it'd stay. Absolutely no way.
Why?
There's no way he'd stay. No way.
Like what money he's on, he won't be able to stay on the wage. Like
he's been at the club since he was like 8 years of age.
Yeah, he was probably bought for $1 million at that age of some fucking.
Imagine this, all right? And again, hypothetical. We get relegated to the fucking championship, okay? And not one player leaves.
Yeah, like you're rattled. You're rattled. You're like that. This segment happened about an hour ago, and you're still hanging on about what's going on.
He's in the spare room. He's not sleeping.
Think about like.
Imagine Pep stays, all the players stay. Nothing changes, only the fact we're in the championship. We're gonna set fucking new records.
And all the players will have to take what, like a 99% wage cut, like.
We'll see what happens. All right, man. All right. Thank you very much as always. Have a good week.
Cheers, Dak.
All right, mind yourself, man. Cheers.
Talk later, lads. Good luck.